So here we are again, back in another past revisited video, and today's one is going to be about Stay Out of the Basement, which for those of you who might be interested, this is what the British cover looks like, and is one of the very few books from the 90s that I actually held on to. But moving on to this one. So, again, I'm not going to go too much into an in-depth review of what the story is and everything of that nature, because chances are people have already beaten me to the punch on that. However, what I am going to say is that this one is definitely a lot solid than quite a few of the other Goosebumps books out there. Especially for something that was written in the 90s, it's actually, it holds up extremely well. In terms of everything, from dialogue to characters to story, it's all pretty solid. And it also does one thing that I can't remember if it actually happens in any of the other Goosebumps books that I've encountered in the past. In that, for one moment, we do break away from the main character, which would be... hold on, let's see, what's her name? Yes, Margaret. Margaret and Casey, those are the two kids who are... Okay, yeah. Blurry as hell, whatever. Yeah. Margaret is pretty much more or less your main female character. She's the one that we see most of the story through. However, briefly, we actually break away from her and go down and see what's happening with Casey when he goes back down into the basement to try and get his t-shirt, which he's left down there after they discover the weird plants and the weird setup in the basement area after exploring and stuff of that nature. I don't remember Arlfine ever doing that in any of the other Goosebumps books, and that we break away from it. Usually when a character disappears and reappears in a story, they often tell you through dialogue exposition as to what happened to them. Very rarely do we actually break away from the main character and just briefly hang out with one of the minor characters. Well, okay, maybe not minor, I guess. Casey is definitely more of a secondary type of character. Now, previously I was... What? Wait a minute, what? Oh man, jeez, fucking hell, God. You know what, I thought I actually had a hell of a lot more to say about this book, but I don't. And the reason being is because this is one of the few Goosebumps books which doesn't have any faults. There is nothing different that I would do. This story is perfect from beginning to end. I've actually forgotten just how good this story is. No wonder subconsciously I decided not to get rid of this book, because I've gotten rid of most of my 90s collection by this point. And so, yeah, again, we get some really cool bonus material at the back of the book, which I think is pretty fantastic and everything. Wait, what? Oh, God, jeez. Yeah, which I think is actually pretty fantastic. And interestingly enough, it is not a repeat of what we saw in Say Cheese and Die. It seems that the information in this is actually pretty different. Like, for example, this one talks about cloned animals. It also talks about various different types of monsters that we can get, such as the Komodo dragon. So yeah, quite a bit of really good, useful information in the back on the off chance you decide that you want to write your own monster story. You've got plenty of material here that can act as inspiration. Also just some briefly touch up on plants and stuff of that nature. But yes, definitely recommend. This one is definitely a book that should be on anybody's shelf. If you haven't experienced Stay Out of the Basement, you should. It's one of the few Goosebumps books that doesn't have any flaws whatsoever in it. No faults whatsoever. That means that this book is perfect in its original form. It doesn't have to have any tinkering done with it. Unlike, with some of the other ones that I've actually read so far, or reread, I should say. Those ones at least have had one or 2 points which I would have altered certain parts of the story in order for it to stand out better. But for this one, no, nothing needs to be done. Right then, till next time.